So before JavaScript, there was like we used to build the web pages with different language, which programming languages we used to build websites, guys, before Ajax was there, before JavaScript was pretty new.
HTML.
Okay, HTML, but like you need to connect to like database, so HTML was not enough to build like proper web page. It was a language where you can also connect to like database, you can get data from like we used to build web pages, so not in front
Node,
side.
Node.js?
Nope, Node.js is also new based on JavaScript. Before there was a ASP, ASP.NET, Microsoft, and PHP, where you can so technically before like we were building everything on backend, like building backend on everything. So we can connect to database, we can connect to other services if necessary. We're building in backend and then sending HTML file to frontend. So right now, like when we build this, we are building like HTML and then this is a script, right? But everything is on client side. And before inside HTML, we were building like this, like PHP, and we are adding like a PHP page. For example, echo hello world means like a console log hello world. So for example, if you want to build something like this before, what we need to do is we were building like this and HTML, which is just this is just a regular HTML. This is a radio, and then we were sending to, if you guys remember, forms had like method and then action, right? Where to send. And we were sending to some kind of HTML page. And inside that HTML page, we were working, yeah. Inside the HTML page, we were getting this email, gender, comment, website, and then we were writing like this. For example, if we'll go down with that one. So here, like we're getting data and then returning data, and based on data, you could do other things. For example, here, this is basic form validation and then checking if it is required. And this is, it would be inside in the HTML. And when you send that form to that page to some kind of backend language, and then inside backend language, there's a PHP server, and PHP language would execute this code. Execute this code, and then if there's an error, catch that error, and then it displays back to HTML. For example, here, span class, if there's error, and then this is HTML part, and then this is PHP part. So when you send to server, this PHP will get converted to HTML, and then it sends back to client side. That's how we would do it. And even, for example, if you want to reach out like cookies, if you guys see like PHP at the end, this is just like, for example, instead of like var, you just put $sign in PHP. So right now we are reaching out to a cookie. And using MySQL inside, we could also reach, yeah, for example, in PHP, this is your database information. You are connecting to database, okay? And you're writing your SQL code. And then if everything is good, then you're sending client side, showing client side, new record created successfully. If it is an error, and then you are sending again, and you're closing database. So everything is inside a PHP code. So in PHP, you can connect also to a database. So before, that's how we would do this. And JavaScript came up, and then Ajax came up. And with Ajax, new techniques, new methods are like new approaches to build websites. So instead of building everything in server side and using JavaScript, using Ajax, what we do is everything is on client side. And if you need to go to like database, we just make an API call. We just make an API call. And when that data comes again, then we change UI based on that API call. So technically, for example, if you write right now like fetch, and then based on fetch data, you show result, you will change, right? You in fetch or in overall Ajax, you will change specific part of page without refreshing the whole page, right? In PHP or ASP, before you have to refresh the whole page. You cannot like update specific part of page because Ajax was not there. You sent the whole page to backend or whole page to back to front end. And in Ajax, because before you couldn't make an API calls. So Ajax, you can make an API call. The first one was HTTP request, but right now we use what to make an API call?
Fetch.
Yeah, we use fetch, and because this is also not easy to do, some like it's complex. So, but it use it then, yeah, fetch. So you just fetch to the URL, which is a backend server. You get data, and then based on the data, you can just using JavaScript and then change front end whatever you want. So technically, before there was no situation where you can make an API call, go to the server, and then come back. Right now, we can do it. And that's why front-end technology was improved a lot. And we started building front-end applications a lot. And then when we have fetch, then for complex projects, JavaScript was not enough. So we started using Facebook created React, and then before React, like Google created Angular, and then some other ones. And we started using those. What are those? React, Angular, what are those? What do we call them?
Framework.
Yeah. So they are front-end frameworks. So we use those frameworks to build front-end applications. Because if, for example, if you need to update only this part, and if you refresh the whole page, then it's slow. But if you not build on only specific part, then you don't need to build, you don't need to refresh or reload the whole page. Just get one specific part updated and then keep going on. That's what Ajax meaning, like asynchronous data. So before understanding fetch, we have to understand the promise. What is a promise, guys? Can you guys explain, like you explaining to 6 years old? That could be interview question. Like explain me promise, like you would explain to 6 years old kid.
Is like you promise something to the somebody, like whatever, like
What if you do without promise?
uh,
What would
then
happen if you do without promise?
without the promise. Oh my god.
Or why we need promise in front-end technology? Because JavaScript is what kind of language? Is it single-threaded or multi-threaded? Is it multi-threaded?
JavaScript dynamic language.
Okay, JavaScript dynamic language. When you say dynamic language, what do you mean?
It means that it can always change.
Yeah. For example, you can assign something to string and then later you can override to number, right? So it's like dynamically you can update the values later. Okay, so JavaScript is dynamic language. And when we say JavaScript is single-threaded language, what do we really mean?
It will read code line by line.
Okay, it reads code line by line. And the core idea of single thread means
Synchronous language.
at the same at a time it can do only one task. Okay, it cannot do two tasks at the same time. So that's why it is single threaded. So let's say we make an API call, and if we follow only like single thread, we make an API call, and then that API call takes 2 minutes. Since we are making an API call, we have to wait because we are doing something else. So it means we cannot do other tasks. So if there was no promise, then JavaScript would make, if when you make an API call, then you should wait for that API call and then do nothing. If JavaScript was like, if we would follow pure single threaded language methods. But we don't want to do that, right? Let's say we have 10 API calls and each API call takes like 0.5 seconds. So in JavaScript, if I see this network and then fetch, these are the list of API calls. Let's see if there's an API call here. Nah, there's not an API call here. So if there's one API call, let's see if we have here. It's also not that many. If you see, guys, there are a lot of like API calls, like analytics, different kind of API calls. And if you see, their timers, each one is different, but some of them even like 5 seconds. Yeah. So if JavaScript, if you build like web applications following purely like single-threaded language, then everything's supposed to, like, every API has to wait other API calls. And while you're making an API call, you cannot do other JavaScript code. You have to wait. But that would not be a good idea, right? So there we kind of like fakely, not fake, but more like we introduce promise there. So we introduce promise, and it kind of works like multi-threaded language, but in fact it is not. So what we do is we introduce a promise, and then what we say is, okay, I make an API call, and when API call have you guys checked like event loop? I strongly suggest you guys watch this event loop. I'm gonna send zoom. So you might be asked like explain event loop. Okay, you need to go. This could be like explain event loop. This could be JavaScript interview question, guys.
Oh, the event loop, this should be the Azamat show for us.
Okay, he showed to you guys. Okay. So goal of event loop is this, guys. So we have a callback stack here. So and JavaScript can go on line by line here, and then it has to wait till it finishes. For example, it can do console like first, then like this function, then that function. Okay, but in JavaScript, if you follow everything, so there is like a queue and a callback. Just watch the video and then it might like kind of confusing, but the goal is like there's a stack and there's a queue. So when you say stack and then queue, like I need you guys need to spend some time, guys, but I just want to explain overall. So event loop. Let's see if this big. Yeah. Okay. Let me. So in a call stack, JavaScript can execute only one thing at a time. Okay. So in call, for example, but what if we make an API call? When we make an API call, there's a fetch, let's say. That fetch gets executed, then it has to wait. But if it waits, then we cannot do all other things. So do you guys like, sometimes it happens like your computer stacks. You cannot do everything, right? Your mouse works, but you cannot click anything. Your browser stuck, and then you have to just restart your computer. So you might go like memory leak or something. So if we don't use promise, then let's say here in call stack, because it goes line by line, if you execute one line of code, if it is a fetch, you fetch, and then you have to wait. If it's gonna take 2 minutes, then you need to wait 2 minutes. If it's gonna wait, like if backend doesn't answer, then you might just stuck there. And at that point, if you click anything, nothing works at that point. Why? Because you in call stack is still waiting. So to solve this problem, right, we introduce like a kind of multi-thread, but more like a promise or some other things. So like web APIs, like Ajax is a web API. Like we have also like set timeout. And so, for example, Ajax works like that. First, fetch starts, right? Fetch. After fetch, we have what? So fetch is a function which returns what?
URL.
Response.
Fetch returns what?
Promise like respond or reject.
Yeah, fetch returns a promise. Okay, fetch returns a promise. So, but we don't know when it returns. Right? It could return like after 2 minutes, after 5 seconds, we don't know. So here what happens is fetch, we start fetch here, and then we don't wait here. We just remove that function. So fetch, we click fetch, and then we just keep continue the next one. Next one is not like a promise. Next one is just like there. So when you click fetch, then we just remove that fetch function from here. And when we start, when we initiate fetch here, fetch has a promise, so it goes to,
Okay.
yeah, it goes to like Ajax. And when Ajax finishes, okay, when Ajax finishes it, there's a promise. So that promise comes to queue again here. So after fetch, there's a then, right? That's for the then, so there's another function, right? So what we do is fetch URL dot callback function. This is a callback function. So fetch works like that. fetch happens, and it sends to like web API here sitting, and when fetch finishes, it doesn't come back here, it goes to queue. That is, callback function comes here, and it waits its turn. So after fetch, the JavaScript continues doing other tasks. It doesn't wait the result. It finishes, and then if everything finished, an event loop takes that whatever is the next one, pushes to call stack. The call stack goes line by line, and then queue also comes from here. So when it's when API result is ready, it comes, the result callback function comes to here, and eventually it comes to back to using event loop, it comes to call stack, and then callback function gets executed. So that's why there's a system where we will be waiting that callback. That's why we don't wait. We don't wait that data. Okay, so fetch comes here, and then when it's ready, it comes to callback queue, and then it waits its turn. It comes back to callback stack, and then callback function gets executed with the data. So that is overall. And for event, this is the technique in JavaScript, event loop. And for regular functions, it just, for example, like regular function in JavaScript, just keep working like that. But for any asynchronous code, like for example, like DOM, like Ajax, like set timeout, right? For example, set timeout, you can say, okay, after 3 seconds, do this. After 3 seconds, call this function. Okay, so here set timeout, when it's set timeout, it goes to this part and it continues. After 3 seconds, the callback function comes here, and when it's turned, it comes back to call stack, and then it executes. So like callbacks, sorry, like Ajax APIs, and then DOMs, and then set timeout, set interval functions. That's how it works, event loop. Okay. So since we have that promise, this is promise goes here and then come back again. So this is a promise. That's why we need to use. That's why fetch returns a promise. For example, in Python, it doesn't, as I remember, it doesn't work like that. You just put like line code. You do this, and then it just continues. It waits till it finishes. Right here, it's waiting it, and then it just comes to here. Okay. So, but in JavaScript, we don't want to wait. We just want to keep sending that one. So this is a fetch. So fetch returns promise, and they might ask you guys. So you guys see. So if you do fetch, if you guys see it, it returns like promise, like pending. So what do we put in your URL? It's like pending, and then it's rejected because it is not the right thing. Success callback. Then error. So if you guys see this under fetch, we hit this API. And like request method get, status code is okay. But now since I'm in like a file, not a website, JavaScript has like course. I cannot make an API call. That's why it rejected me due to like no course. I cannot make an API call from to any websites. It has to allow me to do that. And let me do. Tomorrow, so yesterday you guys went to work, right? With async await? Doesn't
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So I don't want to go that deep.
Like
Yeah.
already the alert about the async await, the fetches and everything. Just
Okay.
in case.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good. So it works like that. So async await is just like a ES6 version, like new thing, and async await is you can still use fetch, but if you use like async await, it's easier to understand because with okay, because you would just you like async. You just
Already.
yeah. Okay.
You also you don't need to transfer to the from JSON to the JavaScript.
Yes, because fetch you have to convert to, again to JSON, right? That's kind of and at work. So fetch is like a default technology, but at work, you may not use fetch. You may use like Axios because there are other libraries.
Mhm.
So probably like you'll be using Axios. And if you ask, if people they ask, you can say, yeah, we use like you can say we use Axios. Axios is you cannot use
Access.
browser because it's also because fetch you have to convert to JSON again. Axios it automatically converts to JSON, so it's easier to use it. And at the end, everything is HTTP request. Okay, because like the HTTP request. Okay. Okay, so now let's solve this.
Marat?
Yeah.
Yeah, we already like I think we had like a couple classes with it with already with date question with Mario. The only one thing, could you please explain the I think we had only one class about the set timeout. And if other guys like agree, I'm not sure like we understand.
Yeah. Yeah, good feedback because I'm looking for something like that for exactly where do you think we should focus more? So set timeout, to be honest, like at work you wouldn't be using that much, right? And as long as you for example, there's set timeout and then set interval, right? Can you guys explain the difference?
For the set interval, we put for how each time it's supposed to repeat it, like seconds, milliseconds. The timeout is how long it's supposed to be when it has to stop. When timeout is answering for the when set interval has to stop.
Yes. So set interval, like it's a loop, it just continues, right? So set interval, for example, set interval callback function, if you did 200, 2000, what does that mean?
2 seconds.
Yeah, so this means every 2 seconds,
Callback function.
call this a callback function, okay? And this one is after 2 seconds, call this function. Okay? And if you apply like a senior level or more deeper jobs, then they might ask you guys, implement me set interval using set timeout. So you know how it works, right? So you'll have a function here, like function, like custom set interval. So if I call this function like this, does it? Then it has to work exactly as like this. Then they might ask you guys like implement custom set interval function using like you need to use like set timeout. Okay, but we need to go there. So only thing is when we use set interval, what do we need to do, guys?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
When we use set interval, what do we need to do?
We need to call the function.
Okay. What else?
Do some manipulation which gonna like repeat once every 1 second. If we use set interval. Mm.
How do we stop? So let's say I want to create a counter, and if it is 10, then I have to stop.
Then you use set interval.
Hmm?
You set it. Stop it.
Set timeout.
The set timeout works on the one. So let's say question. So right now, how I'm gonna stop this? I mean, right now, how I want to stop, like, okay, I want to create a counter up to 10. How to
You need to break.
up to 10?
The
After 10, you mean like after 10 seconds it's supposed to be stop interval? Just set timeout. In
No,
set timeout you can put it the 10 seconds. And
but this one still continues. Set timeout is different. Set interval is different. Because it has to right now, it has to, yeah, right now, like it's keep going like this. I have to, after 10, so 2, 3, 4, I can put it like 0. Right? So I need to
Mm.
put 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 10, and then it stops. Do nothing after 10.
Is it possible to stop with set timeout? Like set timeout, clear interval, and put, for example, like interval ID for the set interval.
Okay, so answer is not set timeout. The answer is we have to clear set interval.
Oh, but can we clear the set interval in set timeout? Oh, sorry. Can we clear set? Can we use set? Can we use clear interval in set interval without set timeout?
Yeah.
I thought we can only call the clear interval only inside of set timeout.
No. So here we need to do let interval is equal to this. If on is equal to 10, right? Then clear interval.
mm,
Yep. Now stop. Okay.
Mm.
So inside that function, we just need to, yeah, you just need to assign to variable. So the thing is not a problem, but the thing with set intervals, you have to clear interval. Otherwise, it just continues. Because you have to say when to stop. So the question was, create a counter which counts up to 10 and then stops. And right now I'm doing console log, but you can do the rest, you can add everything. Like you can do like counter here, right? Using DOM. You can do like JavaScript, right? Using DOM. And you can do even React later. So you can do the visual like JavaScript, React, what do you want to do? But the logic would be this. Okay. So right now do same thing using set timeout.
So instead of using let count, for example, what I will do it is
So do yourself and then send back to me. And when you guys finish, send your code, and then you can take a break, and we'll take a break after that. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Send me finish it and then send me your code from chat and send me a private chat, not to the public chat. And then you can take a break. I will see if I get like 5, then I will let you know, guys. So do it, test it. If it works, then if it works, then send it. If you're stuck, you can use Google. When I say Google, like don't ask how to do that one, but like check Google how to use like set timeout. Okay, you can like don't ask the exact answer, but ask how set timeout works and see other samples set timeout counters, and then yeah, try to base on that. Okay, agree?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, guys, let's do together then. Okay. So the goal was count 10 using set timeout. Okay. So if I do set timeout, callback function, and then every second function callback, and you can even do, let's say, let counter is equal to 0. So counter plus. So if we do this, right, like set timeout, callback function 1000. So this means this is after 1 second, it console logs 1. So right now, what we need to do is, so here we need to do somehow after here, right? Based on our condition, we have to do again. So what if we do this? Just same thing again. Okay? If we do the same thing again, then technically we just calling the same set timeout function here. But the problem here is it doesn't stop right now. So we just need to make it stop. So it just keep continuous like that. So to stop it, we should call this function conditional, which means if counter is less than 10, then do this. Okay? We just have to put that set timeout into condition. Yep. Now it stopped. So right now, let me show, let's go over your codes. So Aziza, did you understand this? Were you able to change your code like this?
Actually, I didn't need any for loop for this, right?
Yeah, you don't need that for
Okay.
I mean, you could do this like while. You could do while also, but yeah, you could just, since it's set timeout, so you just need to keep calling the same function again and again.
Okay. Okay. The for loop also like time.
So this is big mice
The
code.
complexity is also okay.
Yeah. So this is big mice code. So this is the first one. So count 0. Okay, you assign set timeout to timeout. That's okay. And then this is needs to be like 1000. Yeah. Callback function. If count less than 10, count plus plus, console log, and then run again set time. Yeah, that's almost the same logic that what we did. And second right answer was max answer. I like the max answer. Let's go over this code, guys. First repeat. So set timeout, and we just call this function. Okay. Repeat function. If count is less than, if count is bigger than 10, then just done. So it's just returning function. Else, then console log, then set timeout, call function itself, and then even like a count plus 1. So we don't need to, yeah, we're just creating the count function, count variable inside the function. And then, so I like this code. It was written in like ES6 and all everything, and count plus 1. I like this part also. Yeah, this is also good. Good job, guys. Okay, so good job. Was it that hard, this question overall? I think if you guys understand the logic, it should be like pretty easy, but the main thing is like how to. But overall, like first time could be a little bit complicated, but when you see the answer, now it's pretty easy to do it, right?
Yeah, it's tricky.
Yeah. Any question about this task?
No.
Okay, Sultan, how about you? Do you have any question about this?
No, I don't have.
Okay, cool. So yeah, good. So guys, that could be also like interview question, something like that. So set time out in a set interval, you guys will be using like that. And if it is set interval, you have to know that you have to do what? You have to clear set interval. Okay. Cool. Do you guys want to take a break?
Yes, please.
Okay. Let's like 5 to 10 minutes take a break. Okay, then we'll be back. Okay, we did set interval, set timeout. What do you guys have question? Let's go over like GitHub. Have you guys practiced GitHub a little bit? So GitHub practice, you guys need, so in GitHub, what do you guys need to know in GitHub?
How to create the repo or what?
Create a repo.
Push the changes, pull the like origin.
Yeah, push.
First of all, you have to do git init.
Yeah, this is part of how to create a repo. So you
Okay.
need push pull, you need to know how to,
Merge base.
how to merge,
Resolve the conflict.
so conflict. Yeah, and at work, you guys will be using like every day. So they wouldn't be asking you guys, show me Git, or like they wouldn't ask questions about Git during GitHub, during interview questions, because they already assume that if you have some experience, you already know GitHub, but they might ask how they might ask about the process. For example, process. And so in the process, you have development branch and then the production branch. So here it could be like a staging branch. For example, a development branch, this is, so you can say we have like development branch, staging branch, and then production branch. So they might have other like different kind of branches, but like their main 3 branches. So, okay, so when you are given a task, this is important, guys. When you are given a task, what you do is you first of all, you get the latest code, right? You need to, before you start a task, you need to make sure that you have the latest code. And you always work on development branch. So development branch, it's a main branch that developers work. So when you guys work on this development branch, you guys like push, you work on this, and then you push your code to development, and then you branch this development to, you merge development to staging branch, okay? Staging branch. So sometimes like most common thing is at companies, for example, let's say I have this learn.saytech.co, right? Learn.saytech.co, this is production. At the same time, companies also have like a staging dot learn dot saytech.co. So they have some kind of like a staging branch, and in Amazon, like staging branch, they just also create a new website. Development branch, you just check locally. Staging branch will be also on the Rulebossa website, but the customers will not see it. Only like you, this is the specific URL, and then only you guys can see it. For example, something like that, like staging or staging, learn production, learn saytech.co. And so you test this locally, okay? You test this locally, and when you push your code, this sometimes, I mean, when you push your code to GitHub, and on GitHub, your DevOps engineer writes a code, or they already like CI/CD, they create a branch where like when you push to development branch, it automatically goes to this staging, okay? Staging website. So in staging website, you need to check everything. So staging branch, since no customers will not see staging branch, you can push your code. For example, you finish your task, you can just push to your staging branch. Everybody keep pushing to staging branch. And then once in a week, so companies might do different. And once in a week, senior software engineer or senior software engineer, after making sure that everything is good, that staging on everything looks good, then what they do is they push code from staging to production. That means they merge staging into production, and then they push to GitHub. So in the beginning, your code base will be here. If you have a new task, right? For example, so we are 6 here, 6 of us working new task today. We started working on Monday, and then I finish on Tuesday. I push that code, and then it goes to staging, and it will be still staging, but not on production. So two of you also finish it, and then you also push to staging, and everything is good. That each of you guys required to test your code also locally and on staging also, and everything is good on staging. Then a senior software engineer or lead who is responsible, you can see our like a lead software engineer, he pushes our code from staging to production. Okay, because after you push code to staging to production, then everything goes to production to the main website. And if anything happens, let's say you push your code, then there's a problem. There's a problem on somewhere, and you need to fix that one as soon as possible. So that is called what, guys? If you need to fix a like small problem on production, that's called the hot fix. A software update that fixes specific bug. Okay, hot fix. So usually like this is a process. First, you build on development branch, you push on development branch, and then that goes to staging branch. Couple of days like QA team. Okay, QA team like manually, automatically they test your code here, and after some days or every week, some specific day, then lead software engineer push your code to production branch. If anything happens after we push staging to production, if there's a bug, sometimes it might happen, you push the code to production and then bugs happen right away. Some kind of problem that you guys couldn't catch at staging. Not like small bug, but like a bigger bug. At that situation, what do we do?
I mean, we can cancel that merge what we did the previous.
Yeah, at that point, then you cannot, yes, kind of like that. We didn't cancel the merge. We in AWS, we reverse that change. Okay, we reverse the whole change, and if you reverse whole change, then production branch will goes back to the previous production. So it's because first thing is first, we need to fix. First thing is first, we need to make sure that production works. So if it's like bigger problem, then we reverse that change on production, and after we reverse, then stay in staging in development. We'll try to fix the problem, and if everything is good, we test, and then we push back to production. Okay, so we reverse that change. You reverse that the whole like change. But if it is like small one, like, hey, seems like there's a bug, let's fix it as soon as possible, like small thing. At that point, we have like a hot fix. Hot fix means like you need to fix that small problem as soon as possible. So in that kind of situation, sometimes at production branch, you can just go to that production branch, because locally you have all these branches. You just need to shouldn't work in staging and then production. Because you work here, you push to staging branch, and then from staging branch, you push to production branch. As each individual software engineers, they can push everything to development branch. And from development branch, it goes to staging branch. And from staging branch, one person, tech lead, will merge things to production. And if bigger problem happens, then we reverse the change, all of them, and then fix things here, and then again follow the same thing. If small thing like hotfix, then sometimes like the software engineer might just go to that production branch and then fix that, because we don't stage, right? Because when you push like development and then staging, we don't do, let's say we don't push from staging to production every day, like we do once in a week to track things easier. In that situation, since we don't want to wait the whole week, what we do is we can just go to production branch, fix that specific small problem, we push it, and then at that point, then we fix the problem. But right now, our production branch is ahead of staging and then development, right? Because usually these two will be ahead of the production branch. But if we do a hotfix, then that person merges production back to staging and then back to developing. Because if it change, because it always goes top, like from development to staging to production. If you change something here, then you have to merge production also to staging and then development. Otherwise, your production hotfix is there, and then next time if you push this from staging to production, that hotfix will be gone because that hotfix is not in staging. If you do, then usually like one person does it, or they might ask you also, guys, like, hey, fix it as soon as possible, that hotfix. Then you can ask, okay, do you want me to do on production, or do you want me to do on like development and then staging? So this is one way of to do it. And then some companies, they do continuous integration, which means you push development branch, same day it goes to staging, and then same day it goes to production. If you're a small company, like startup, a small team, they might do like this, like every day pushing code to production. But like bigger teams, they don't want to, because if you push to production every day, then there might be a problem, right? If there might be, you might have more problems on production because you might miss the problem. So you don't want to do that. But like if you're a small startup and then you change things a lot, then the team could decide that one. It's not up to you. It depends on the team. So this is how it works. And let's say you were working on a task. You will, let's say you have a task, and your task is to create this kind of, again, like extra, this interpretation. You need to create, let's say, a submenu. Okay, so for example, here, when I hover, I want to create submenu here. So what you do is you go development branch, you pull data, like code base, like latest code base, because you know you don't want to work the old code base. You do the latest code base. You get the latest code, and then you'll create a branch from development branch. You created another branch. Let's call it sub. Let's say you'll get it if you work in Jira, right? There is a so you can say that I will create a branch, and the name of the branch, usually we do task, like because in Jira there's a task ID. So let's say Jira 123, and then let's say, yeah, Jira 123, like this. This is a branch name. You can create a branch name. You are keep working on that one, and if you finish this, then you test locally if everything is good. You merge this code, your branch, back to a development branch. Okay. And you merge this, but before you merging, how does it work, guys? You create a code review, right? So you create a branch, 0121123. You have a branch right now. You finish that task. You test it. Everything is good. Then what you do is you push this branch to GitHub. For example, I need a pull request here. So it seems like Azmat here. So you create a pull request. For example, this is okay. So pull request, you create a pull request saying that, okay, this is your branch. Form validation, this the name of the branch, and right now it's saying that Azmat created a pull request and wants to merge into a master branch. And when you create a pull request, you let other teams, other team members to ask, hey, can you check I or who is responsible? So usually like each software engineer, you just send to like your team Slack or Teams, usually they might use Slack. Can somebody check this pull request? Okay, for example, and then you'll check the pull request. If you need comment, you provide comment, they provide comment. And then if everything is good, they could just merge it and they could say yes. And it automatically merges to the whatever. So in the beginning, when you join the company, you'll just check details like how the process. So you could learn the process. Okay. Overall, GitHub will be like that. And sometimes they might say that, oh, you need to change that one, and you could change that, and you could change, and then you could update your branch. You could update your branch again and then push again. And sometimes you could create a new pull request, or you could update the exact same thing. Or let's say you are working on this one and then your manager asks, hey, there is another one urgent task. So can you stop this and then start the new one? At that situation, what you do is you save whatever you hear and you check out back to development branch. Okay. And you go to development branch and you from the development branch, because you haven't finished this one, from development branch, you create a new branch again for that given urgent task. Because sometimes you might be working like at the same time, like especially if you're working small team or startup, priorities change. You're working on that one, and then after a day, they might ask, okay, this is more priority right now. Let's work on this. And they might say, actually, there's another task. Let's finish on that one. So you just save it into that branch. You check out, because when you check out this branch, your code is gone. Your code is inside this branch. So you create another branch. You start working on that branch. You push that branch, go back to development branch, and then check out again here, and then continue working on that one. You can keep working on that. And sometimes, like, let's say you start having like a problem, you're like a lot of things like happening, and sometimes you just want to like, you can like delete. Let's say you have like local code that you don't really care, but you need to start working on new thing, but you also committed something happen. You can just delete your branch or delete your repository and then git clone again. In the beginning, you might have that kind of situation. Like you have some changes, you save some changes, you have committed, you didn't commit some of them. You can say, okay, if you don't care that things, then just delete your branch or delete your repository and then just git clone again to start a new fresh one. Okay. And GitHub at then just a practice. When you guys join, you'll just see how the process works. But if you overall, this is how it works. And then this is what you need to know, because they might ask, okay, during interviews, okay, explain me how do you push code, like how do you create? They didn't ask how do you create code pull request, but they might ask like explain the process. How do you guys do it work? And that situation, then you guys do that. When you have a task, task is like task is given, right? Task is given, you assign yourself, and then you create a pull request, and you start working on that task. When you're done, you push that code base, and then you create a pull request. And
Marat,
Mhm.
can you please show us how to solve the conflicts, how to correctly solve the conflicts? Like, as I heard that you often in your job, you need to solve the conflicts since like for the one project, the several developers can do the like simultaneously for the one project. And one time you have to like solve all the conflicts. How it's correct to do it.
Yeah, conflicts happen like usually if you guys working on that like same page, like same. For example, let's create.
Like page, I mean, like several people working with a header, kind of like this, or
If you guys working at the same page, let's say if it is React, if the same component, then it will say it will be conflict. If you guys like different pages, then usually there is no conflict. Okay, right now I'm just initiating this. So get initiating just happens one. So right now, if I do git status, if I see I have changes. And usually this, if you're using Mac, this dstar comes always. So usually in a file, there will like git ignore folder. But usually you're working on this kind of, so you'll see that there will that kind of like that git a. So if you guys see, you don't see here that because inside git ignore, I put that ignore this kind of folder file, or I could even do like aa.js, which means I'm saying right now, ignore that aa.js. So you don't, it doesn't track, but of course you don't want to do that one, but local, because you might have like local configuration for each computer, those kind of configuration also you put. At work, you will see that you will have this kind of git ignore folder. Okay, now we have this, we have git status, git branch, git branch, sorry. Because we don't have branch yet. So right now what we do, we need to add. If you wanna like, if you wanna add specific file, you can also do that one. For example, git add example.html, but that's not a good idea. If you want to add, you just need to add always all of them, because otherwise remove other changes, unnecessary changes. So git add dot. And dot means adding all of them. Right now, if you do git status, yes, right now all of them we added here. It's green. Yeah, red means you have changes, but you haven't committed, you haven't added. So right now you do git commit -m and then you could comment example for GS. So right now git push. Saying that, oh, we don't have a branch. We don't have branch there. Okay, I need to the first time git remote add. Okay, let's see. Yeah, we need to create a branch. Nowadays, like there's a main branch, or by default it could be like master branch. It doesn't matter if it's main branch or master branch. So right now I created this main branch locally. So I have to push that branch to server also. So if I git push, it's asking git push to which branch, because it has to know which branch it has to push. There is no branch. So right now I'm doing this. This means git a remote. So I am adding origin. Right now, if I do git push, let's send it again. So I have to create this branch. Now it pushed here. Okay. So if I change now, I do this. Okay, guys. So right now, what you guys need to do, go this URL, git clone, and then inside example HTML, push your, just put your code, okay? So go to, so all of you guys, clone this one and create your branch under your name and go to example HTML and paste your code. Okay, paste your code, that the latest code that we did set timeout, and try to create a pull request. Okay, I'll be waiting for it. The first person, yeah, do that, and then we'll continue from there. So when I see like 3, 4, or 5, when I start seeing at least 2, then 2 pull requests, then I will continue from here. Till then, I'll wait. Okay.